Let's ask something simple. Can the Lord of the entire world, who has shown us endless kindness, mercy, power, and protective care, not be able to reward the good in a way that fits his generosity and mercy? Or even punish those who do wrong in a way that matches his glory and justice? If we really looked at how life works, from the weakest little creature to the strongest, we see something amazing is that every creature gets what it needs, often in unexpected ways. In fact, Allah gives the weakest ones the softest, most perfect food, and He even sends healing to the sick. So many beings get what they need when they need it, and even when they don't expect it. All this care, all this giving, it's like being guests at a never ending and generous feast. It shows us without a doubt that there's a kind and eternal hand behind it all, taking care of every detail. Think about this. Trees are dressed in beautiful green leaves, like fine silk, and some even look like they belong in paradise. Then they're decorated with flowers and fruits, gorgeous, tasty, and colorful, all just for us. They produce all this goodness at the tips of their branches, like outstretched hands offering gifts. And look at honey. Sweet, healing honey comes from a little stinging insect, or the soft and warm clothes we wear that come from threads spun by a tiny creature with no hands at all. Or the way an entire fruit tree is hidden in a tiny seed. All of this is clear proof of how kind and gentle Allah's generosity really is. Now, think about how every part of the universe works, from the sun and moon to the tiniest insect. Everything is doing its job perfectly. Nothing steps out of line. Everything obeys and follows a system, and it does so with so much precision and calmness. That kind of harmony shows us one thing, which is that none of this moves or functions on its own. Everything is under the command of a great and powerful creator. What about mothers? Like, whether they're animals or people, mothers care for their young with such love and mercy, and they feed them and they protect them and they give them what they need, even when they don't ask for it. That kind of care is another beautiful example of Allah's endless mercy. So here's the big point. If Allah, the one running this world, is so generous and so merciful and so powerful and full of majesty, then doesn't it make sense that this kind of generosity and mercy should lead to even greater rewards? And that His glory and power should mean there's real justice? But look at the world, see, it's temporary and life is short, and all we see of this justice and mercy here is like a drop in the ocean. So it must mean that there is another place, a home of happiness. So there has to be a place where real justice happens, where Allah's power and majesty are honored properly, because in this life, we often see the oppressor winning and the oppressed suffering, and both might die that way with no consequences. But that does not mean Allah forgot. Just because the final court hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. See, the judgment is just delayed and nothing is going to be ignored. And sometimes the consequences do come early. Just look at history, for example. The destruction of past nations that disobeyed and rebelled showed that humans aren't left to do whatever they want without consequences. We're always under the watch of the one who is strong and majestic. Now, think about us, humans. Allah chose us and gave us huge responsibilities and built us with everything we need inside. If someone doesn't recognize Allah through faith, even though Allah introduced Himself through all these amazing signs, if someone doesn't grow to love Allah through worship, even though Allah has shown love by filling our lives with beauty and blessings, and if someone doesn't show respect and gratitude after being given so much, how could that person possibly be left alone without any accountability whatsoever? How could the one full of power and glory not prepare a place of consequence for them? And on the other hand, how could the most merciful not prepare an eternal home of happiness for all the believers? The ones who responded to His invitation by getting to know Him through faith and loving Him through worship and honoring Him with gratitude. That kind of love That kind of love and connection, that's what deserves an everlasting reward.